Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous two-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
I've got a lot of grandbabies, like a lot. And when it comes to finding a gift for each of them, it could add up. But this year, while I was making my way through Walmart, I realized I don't have to spend a lot to get the gifts they'll love.
An OPI mini Manny set! I'm gonna do so much nail art.
Oh, yeah! A Lego set! My own Awala water bottle!
Ooh, and that's just half of them.
Shop great gifts they're sure to love for $25 and under at Walmart.
The Dental Download podcast is your source for insight from conversations with fellow dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Dr. Haley. Let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download podcast. I'm your host, Haley, or Dr. Haley, and this is going to be our, I think it's annual, New Year's Eve episode or New Year's episode, because we're going to be talking about our goals for the new year. I'm actually splitting this into two sections because for my own personal growth, I wanted to set a lot of goals for the clinical side of things for the new year, and I need more time to think about those. And I also want to see how our meeting goes at the start of the year at the office to see what that kind of promotes within me. And I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of team deep diving things internally of how we want the year to run, but I think we'll also be meeting with our coaching team. I would assume for a portion of it, we have a whole half day blocked off the start of the year for all of that. So that episode will go up after we get to have that meeting and I get some more inspirations for what I want my goals career-wise to be and within the office. But these are my goals as an individual. And then we'll also go through how I did on my goals for 2024, which actually is what we'll start with. But first, here's a word from our sponsor. I've been doing an awesome campaign with the Michigan Dental Association that's wrapping up this month. So thank you to the MDA for working with me on this episode of the podcast, as well as if you want to check out some of the videos I did with them over on my Instagram page. So when you're an early career dentist, staying ahead of the curve isn't just smart, it's essential. And with the Michigan Dental Association, you'll have the cutting edge resources and the latest industry insights right at your fingertips. From tools to sharpen your skills to connections that elevate your practice, MDA membership gives you everything you need to be your best. Smart dentists make smart moves. Secure your 2025 membership at michigandental.org/2025. Now let's get back to the episode. So I realized, I was looking back at my phone because I have all of my goals from each year starting back in 2021, but then I didn't write any for 2024, which I feel so lame for. I was trying to see if I did a podcast about it, and I think I did, but I couldn't find my notes. So I'm just going off of memory. And then I also made, for the first time, which I never had before, a vision board. So I feel like that was kind of my goal setting in 2024 rather than writing tactical things out, which I think is a lot more efficient. The vision board's like a fun side thing. But I'm looking at my vision board right now, and I had annotated Bible on there, so some scripture readings. I had a lot of just calming images and a lot of peaceful homes, peaceful home decor. I actually had a really pretty house that was the style of home we wanted to have one day. And then I had some fitness things, healthy eating, kind of farmer's market vibe, some cute relationship date looking things, dental implants, CE, clean work aesthetic, clean office aesthetic. And then I had passports with a couple with their engagement rings. So I would say we pretty much accomplished most of that in the broad scheme of things. And it's really crazy because the picture on our vision board of this really pretty house that I just loved how it looked. It's very craftsman, and it's really funny because the house we're building does look fairly similar to that. It's the same vibe. And then it also
has the same shape. Like our house we're building has a little bit more of a unique shape, and it's the same as that one on the vision board, which obviously I've always liked that shape, but we didn't pick it specifically because of the vision board because I kind of forgot that that was on there. But that is just funny how putting things into the universe works, and then they're like in your brain or all of that. I'm sure you guys understand where I'm going with that. But otherwise, I know that one of my goals for 2024 was to read 12 books. So on average, a book a month. And I'll pull up my Goodreads and see how I did on that. But I know I did way more than 12 this year. So woohoo. I will finish one more, I know, while I'm in Florida at least, possibly two. And then the other things were really just like life events. It was all, I was just trying to like get through the year and become a dentist. But graduation, start my job, get engaged hopefully, which I did, but I was assuming we were going to get engaged, and just kind of settle in my new routine was really all I wanted for 2024. I was just like ready to have the year happen and go through it and soak it all in and enjoy it. I wasn't necessarily trying to change anything. I wanted to just keep the same rhythm and flow and lifestyle that I had developed throughout 2023. So healthier, clean eating, movement, prioritizing those sorts of things, self-improvement in all regards, faith, career, studying, that sort of thing, and relationships with people. And I feel like I did a really good job with all of that. I mean, nothing groundbreaking, but overall really good. So books, I was looking it up while I was talking. I read 18 this year so far. And like I said, I will finish the year with either 19 or 20, depending on how much I read before Christmas when I'm down in Florida and like at the airport getting down there and everything. I know I've mentioned before that my parents live in Florida. We grew up in Michigan, but they live down there primarily now. So we always go down there for Christmas, myself and my sister. And then we meet up with our respective fiancés outside of Florida and their families either before or after Christmas to kind of celebrate with them. I'm not sure what we're going to do next year once we're both married. That will be a discussion for another time. We'll see. That's like such a weird part of growing up is like, how do you do holidays, especially when we don't have kids? There's really no reason to like stay at our own house and do Christmas here. I think maybe once we have kids, we might want to do that. But for now, I'm sure we'll be with either my family or my future in-laws. But I don't know how that's all going to work because it's not like we can see them in the same day or even weekend. Like we can't do Christmas Eve and then Christmas with another person because my parents are in Florida and his family's in Michigan. But who knows? That is a problem for next year. So you'll get to hear what we end up doing a year from now. But let's go through the 2025 goals. So this year, since I did almost 20 books, I'm aiming for 15 books, so a little more than a book a month. I honestly don't even think I will get this, which is not how you want to start with negativity. But since starting work, I've probably only read like 3 or 4 books in 6 months. All the other ones were over break before starting work, between dental school and work. I read a lot in that time, but who knows? Maybe I will get back in my reading era and less scrolling on my phone. I certainly have the time. I just scroll way too much. So I would love to scale that back in 2025, but that is not on my actual list. So we have read 15 books, gym 4 days a week, or fitness 4 days a week, whatever that will look like. Daily stretching. This was a 2023 goal. Barely happened. Did not do it much in 2024, but I'm going to have my fiance keep me on this one because I think it's really, really important. And even if it's just small ones, like listed as like good for dentists, just even like my wrists and my arms will be huge, I think, for longevity of the career. But I'd like to have stretches for my back and like lower back, upper back, shoulders, arms, all of that kind of dialed in. And then I would love to continue doing my daily praying and my daily devotional. I would say I get this at least 90% of the time. 90% of the year I was pretty good about this. And I'd like to finalize a payment plan for all debts. So that would be my car, which that's a fun life update. I just picked up my new car. I know I talked about I'm going to be eventually buying a car, my first ever time buying a car. So we financed it, but I own it / the lender owns it. And we just picked it up on Wednesday, so a couple days ago. So I've only been driving it for 2 days, but I love it. I've test driven it before and did a lot of research on kind of what I wanted. I was between the car I got and then a Toyota Highlander hybrid. I wanted a hybrid for a little bit better gas mileage. So I ended up getting the Kia Sorento hybrid, and I really like it so far, but that's a big life move and very exciting. But I'd like to work with our financial planner to figure out a strategy of if and when we're going to pay down my school debt, our mortgage that we have not taken out yet, but will be soon with the house that we're building, and then my car loan. So a lot of the times the baseline of what he told us is pretty much looking at the interest rate for each of your loans, and if it's lower than the returns you'd get in the stock market, to not pay off your debt and just keep paying the interest, because in the end what you'd earn in the market is better. But it's kind of a emotional money decision too, like what you prefer to do. So we'll talk between my fiance and I and what makes sense for us along with our financial planner and figure all that out. But that's a big goal, just like knowing what our plan is so that we're not changing our mind and going back and forth a bunch, because that's where you kind of get burned when you decide, I'm just going to throw a bunch of money at it, and then decide, actually, I'm not going to end up paying it off. So then you should have just kept all your money in the investment pot rather than taking down half the car loan, because you still have so much interest you're going to keep paying. So you kind of have to be committed to whatever direction you go. And then the next one is sticking to our monthly budget. So same kind of thing. We need to finalize what that's going to be as a soon-to-be married couple, and I would love to stick to that. And I have a certain dollar amount written here that I would like to have in our savings and investments based on where we're at now, what I think this number would be totally attainable by the end of the year for sure, if not even 6 months into the year. And then the other ones are for social media. And then the last couple are related to just like personal life goals and events. So for social media, my goal would be to post the video version of the podcast and the video content for promoting the podcast every single week, because it's definitely a task that I don't treat as diligently as I do of getting the episode up for y'all to listen to. I don't do a good job of posting the physical video of me talking to a guest onto YouTube. I've only done that like 2 or 3 times. And then as for the promotional reel that I put on Instagram, I always do it for guests, but probably sometimes it's a few days late, sometimes it's a few weeks late, and then I rarely do it for solo episodes, but I'd like to do it for everything. And then I would also like to make sure those always go on TikTok as well, if TikTok is still a thing next year. So I want to be a lot more strict with myself about the video posting for the content of the podcast, because I think that really helps grow the audience. But I just get a little complacent with things, and sometimes it's hard to find time to even record. So it's hard to do the video content because that takes a lot more time. But I care, and I would like to keep the podcast growing. So that's a goal. And then the other goal that I've also been slacking on is my YouTube channel, where I post vlogs and advice videos, things like that. I would love to post twice a month is my goal. I think a lot of the time since I've been working, I've posted twice or once a month, never more than twice, but probably on average like 1.5 times a month, because there's definitely been times I only posted once. But I'd like to come up with 2 videos a month, ideally, even if they're just vlogs, because I think it's fun and I really enjoy looking back on them. And I think the people that like to watch them would like them to be posted more frequently. I already told you that my professional goals are going to come in their own episode, but as for my 2025 goal, I wrote, hit my goals for work. And then I also said, I would like to feel energized after each workday / not run down. Like I'd like to enjoy what I do, where I don't leave work feeling miserable or really, really tired and burnt out. It should fuel me and make me excited and happy. Obviously, you might be like physically worked, which is normal because it's a job, but I don't want to have a big mental load when I come home that I dump on my partner. I don't want to be stressed about work the next day and my cases. I would love to have the confidence and the skill set to do my work well and not have to worry about things and lean on my team members and other doctors for support, which I think I do pretty good at now, but I would like to see that keep growing because there's definitely days I come home and I'm just dead. So I don't love that. But I think that's all part of being a new dentist, you know? And then the last thing is to get married and go on our honeymoon. So those are big expenses we're saving up for and big events we're planning. So those are big goals to make them happen and enjoy them and soak it in. So that's everything for my 2025 goals. I know it's a very short and sweet episode, but I know you all are probably enjoying your holidays as well. So I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to say thank you so much for the support on the podcast. It's been our best year yet. Every year we get a little bit better. I would love to see even more growth next year. It's not about the numbers or obviously about making money per se. Like, I'm a dentist, I don't need income from the podcast, but it is helping people and building a community. That's why I do it, and it's what I really love to do. So the more people that we can reach and help, the bigger impact that I'm making and also that you're making as being part of this community. So with all that said, I really just want to thank you again, whether you've only listened for a couple months or whether you've been listening from the very beginning. It means a lot to me, and I really appreciate if you ever take the time to share my podcast with a fellow friend in dentistry that you think could also learn a thing or two, or just enjoy some solidarity with someone that's going through similar things as yourself or as they are. And I hope you all have a very, very Merry Christmas if you celebrate, and a Happy New Year. And I will talk to you next year. We'll have a guest up next week, but that was pre-recorded. So next solo episode will be in the new year, and I will talk to you all then.